Good morning. First, my title for this conference is The Experience of an Intermediate Housing in Algeria between Social and Spatial Arrangements, the Case of Two Girls, presented by me, BENREGUIG, Souheir, Sabrine, PhD candidates. So, we start our presentation with a work plan to better follow me. Our study about the experience of an intermediate housing in Algeria will have three parts. The first part will focus on literature research, books, thesis. This part corresponds to 2 points, introduction and an intermediate housing concept. Then I will present the analytical part, corresponding also 2 points, the case of the town of two girls and the habit spatial structure. Finally, I will conclude to interpret the results. The first point is an introduction. This study is based on the compatibility between social practice and spatial configuration of the intermediate housing in the BENREGUIG region in southeast Algeria. That we will treat an intermediate housing for 2 important arrangements, social and spatial. For this reason, we will analyze the subjects for this presentation according to social practice and spatial configuration of residential space as manifested in the two girls' habits. So, the objectives of this study are understood an intermediate housing and access all its characteristics. Moreover, identify the factor influence on residents' perception in order to improve the quality of the built environments. The conceptual diagram is the study framework. I will treat the existing correlation between the intermediate housing characteristic, social practice, and the spatial configuration. In addition, its effects on the space appropriation by space transformation or not. Beforehand, I would like to clarify the notion of the intermediate housing. I think that it's very important to report this point because an intermediate housing is the third way between collective and individual housing. The figure illustrates the definition according to criteria that differentiate it from the other type. By individual access, outdoor private space, a maximum height of 4th level, the presence or not for common area, collective structure, vertical and horizontal joining. Now, the second part of my presentation will focus on the case study of the region of the BENREGUIG. This case was chosen for 2 major reasons: the Sahara region specificity and the particularity for his housing types at its difference from another Algerian experience by its diversity of architectural, aesthetical, morphological, and spatial forms produced. The first figure is the location of Touggourt is located in the southeast part of the Algerian Sahara. Touggourt is the capital of the BENREGUIG regions. It's considered a cross and commercial extension city. Here, the town of Touggourt is linked to the town Biskra Wirgla on the north-south sides by the number 3 axis. It's connected to the town of El Oued on the east side and Touggourt Masad of the west side by the number 16 axis. The urban fabric of the Touggourt town has undergone changes like other Algerian towns. We see in the second figure that the traditional Sahara habit in the black color is the Qasr fortified village. It is characterized by an organic shape and situated in juxtaposition with the colonial fabric. The traditional fabric units with the recent districts are represented by hatching. They are juxtaposed and gradually occupy the site between the palm groves in green color and the national road number 3. The west side of the city is reserved for the recent expansion. Then We will pass to a habit spatial structure. We will treat two examples, traditional and the recent habit characteristic. The first example is the traditional habit characteristic of Qasr Nizla. The traditional Qasr dwelling does not have a standard plan. It's a typical. It's characterized by interval. On the four-grid plan, the chicken Saqifa entrance is through a buffer space between the main entrance and the interior rooms of the house, and ensure privacy. Saqifa leads to both a guest rooms بيت الضياف and a كترويد الحوش. The كترويد الحوش is the largest open space and occupies the central position. It revolves around the rooms and also the lighting and the distribution of another rooms. Before crossing the Saqifa, the third العتبة is the symbolic barrier which serves to mark external space from the inside. The Sabbath is the covered open space with an arcade as a gallery. This shaded space also serves as a restroom area. The Sabbath is the space for storing consumer goods, المخزن. The polynuclear structure of the family indicates the number of rooms from which several brothers occupy the same dwelling. Access by the upper floors is by stairs. It includes one or more bedrooms, butes, and a terrace, سطح. The terrace is also used for various activities, meeting places, conviviality area, place to meet, a place to spend an evening, and a very pleasant place to sleep at night during the hot season. Photos on Saqifa, Sabbath, Cuisine, الحوش, space for animals, and الحوش and rooms. The second example is the intermediate housing characteristic. The town of Nizla and Tugyurt are surrounded by palm groves that delimit their urbanization perimeter. The project was carried out within the framework of the urban planning, the post land use plan of the Cuban Nizla, which is an urban extension of the Tugyurt town, all along with the National Road number 3. The project is composed of living spaces, green spaces, playground, mechanical and pedestrian traffic, and parking place. The architects propose a local intermediate housing that has a characteristic similar to traditional habits of the Qasr into socio-cultural dimension. Urban characteristics. The urban composition derives from the urban facade combined with the cell principle with a plan mass of orthogonal composition different from that of the Qasr. The housing units are located on the juxtaposed seats on the oasis. It has advantage to the filtering effect provided by the palm grove and improve the surrounding thermal condition. The choice of the location of the dwelling and the orientation of the paths are recommended as obstacles to limit the effects of the side winds on the south seas. For this reason, behold pinners all along the plot on the oasis north side. The outdoor spaces are well defined and delimited by spaces creation for play or passage is prefaced by facilities and appropriation by the inhabitant. The hierarchy of public to private space is respected by the successful creating of space, such as a veranda, private space square between two or four dwelling semi-public spaces. The exchange of conversation between inhabitants while social life takes place, passing through this space by the urban gate of the city before finding unsafe in the street public space. These spaces are as much a quality of the traditional habit. The visual aspect of the round arc urban gate serves as a landmark to identify oneself in the neighborhood. This psychosociological sensation gives a virtual limit and symbolical barrier on the neighborhoods. The socio-spatial arrangement of spaces is so much sought after by the inhabitants. The presence of vegetation is the main reason for user satisfaction. It reduces the temperature and promotes social lives. Some inhabitants plant as many green spaces as possible by appropriating the space they consider insufficient for Sahara climates. Architectural characteristic. All the dwellings are designed with standard 3 or 4 rooms. The central space number 5 in the figure replaces the house of the traditional house. The bedrooms and the bathrooms are organized around this central space. Some spaces, such as the living room and the kitchen, open into the private outside. A veranda on the ground floor and a terrace on the first floor. The other rooms open onto outside the streets to take advantage of the natural light. The intermediate housing characteristics are respected by the low-high human scale, since it does not exceed 2 levels. Private access is the second criteria characterizing intermediate housing. The third, the private outdoor space, is the natural continuity of the living space and kitchen. This space is considered as a multi-purpose space of dwelling. It allows children to play or have meal with the family. It should be noted that this socio-spatial criteria is very much appreciated by the inhabitants. This space gives them a feeling at home. This arrangement is similar of the traditional dwelling. We will note that the three openings of the principal facade of each dwelling explain the important role of the central space. The aesthetic elements are reduced and are experimented by the musharrabiyya elements, aesthetic elements, pinnacles of Qasr architecture. The roof ends with a curved line reflecting the dunes of Sahara skylines. The visual design conceptualizes the interior-exterior relationship. The socio-spatial arrangement is more in line with the Nigerian population lifestyles. Views of the private access veranda on the ground floor and the terrace on the first floor. Social characteristic. Intermediate housing characteristics provide the use of the opposite dwelling sensation concerning the relationship between inside and outside. This sensation is disguised. The more the prospect is diminished, the more the opposite dwelling sensation is perceived. The notion of home is one of characteristic of habit provided by the habit. The inhabitants have a good neighbor relationship and social relations have been well established. The reduced number of high and the absence of common area, in this case staircase, requires less maintenance and have favored sociability over time. Socio-economic characteristic. In the recent intermediate housing, the marital family replaced the nuclear family in the traditional house. The nuclear family consists 2 to 3 households. The family sizes of a single household is reduced from 4 to 6 persons. The young house adapts with the type of the house and designed 3 or 4 rooms. The result is the correlation between social practice and spatial configuration. The quality of spaces is proved contribution full to reducing the transformation of the habitat spaces. Adaptation of an intermediate house with social practice. Social cultural practice are prevised, and the relationship between inside and outside is very clear. Comparing to the traditional house, the habit sizes over almost the same spatial organization. The function organization is done around a central place. 2 is adaptation of an intermediate housing with a family structure. Socioeconomic and cultural conditions have changed every time, and the minority family is replaced by an extended family in the traditional Qasr habits. The third is adaptation of intermediate housing to socioeconomic conditions. The housing studies is designed for pupils whose economic levels is among the middle social categories. Conclusion: the experience of an intermediate housing has led to a socially and spatially coupled duality, and has contributed to the development of the living together approach. All experimentation is necessary to overcome certain monotypic stereotyped models to which we are sensitive by trying to draw the lines of a habit in which we want to live in the future according to our natural climate, socio-economic, and above all, socio-cultural conditions. Finally, thanks for your attention.